My first myth today asked if there's any truth behind the claim that the noise you hear on that live version of Deep Purple's Child in Time is actually a gun being fired. This is absolutely one of the best songs that band ever recorded, and that band recorded some pretty great songs. This myth, though, has persisted for decades. There's some people who claim the sound is a gunshot, some people say it's an amp blowing out, there's a number of different things behind it, but not one of them is right. It's myth. This is not a gunshot at all. What you're actually hearing is the sound of a reverb spring inside of the organ that was on stage at the time. I think it was a Hammond, if I'm not mistaken. When it tilted against the speaker cabinet, the big bang went off, and you can actually create this pretty easily in your house if you have that stuff. This is basically how magnets work, and what you're hearing is science going on, so it's not a gunshot at all. Total myth. Today's second myth asks me whether or not it's true that Slash auditioned to be in the band Poison, but was ultimately rejected in favor of CC DeVille. All across the early and mid 80s, you have so many instances where later famous guitar players or bass players tried out for bands and were rejected, and this is one of them. Totally true. Original Poison guitarist Matt Smith left the band in the 80s just as the band was starting to pick up steam. The band held open auditions, and they said that their final three were Steve Silver from the Joe Perry Project, Slash, and CC DeVille. Brett Michaels has said a number of times that initially they really didn't like CC's attitude, but they loved his stage presence and his playing style, so he definitely was the man for the job. Slash quickly recovered from that rejection, and he joined a little band called Guns N' Roses. So in the end, everybody wins, but the claim that Slash was rejected from Poison is absolutely true. My last myth today also came in via request, and it's a much more recent one, and it asks if there's any truth to the claim that the Diamond Rio song In God We Still Trust was banned from radio due to its lyrics. If you're unfamiliar with the band, these guys have been doing their own blend of Christian-influenced country music since the mid-80s, but this myth showed up in 2005. Basically, the people who run this story out there claim that this song was banned from radio because it goes ahead and suggests that there should be no separation between church and state, and that the way the government is leaning towards religion is totally fine. The song used to be performed to standing ovation in 2005, and they did an official studio version of it a few years later. But the story behind its lack of airplay is total myth. It wasn't banned for any reason, and it's not to this day. This track gets no airplay because, well, think about it. Think about the other songs and the other styles it's trying to compete with. This is about as far from pop country as you can possibly get, and even within the country world, this one is a little bit too preachy. There's no conspiracy on this track. It's just not as marketable as other songs. So those are my myths for this week. Be sure to check back here every Friday as I delve into some of the coolest stories in music history. If you've got a myth you want me to check out, email it to me at thedailyguru@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook right here, and I'll see you guys again next time.